Such a heavenly day, slick as ice, not a cloud in the sky. Very nice, wind in my hair, and everywhere there's a feeling of peace. But you tell me about the reason people change with the seasons. I don't have time for that. Oh no, I'm just grooving with the vibe. I can take being alive on this heavenly day. Well, you tell me about the passion in the night, that hating is in fashion. I say, why fight? I wonder if we can live in a world of love and wonder, wonder, wonder. I can see a new day of devotion, brothers and sisters, such emotion, working with our hands, doing the best we can, just grooving with the vibe. I can take being alive on this heavenly day. Heaven, heavenly, 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 heavenly day. Heavenly day. Whoa, whoa, heaven, 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 heavenly day. Hey, yeah, heavenly, heavenly day. Whoa, heavenly, heavenly day. I can see a new day of devotion, brothers and sisters, such emotion, working with our hands, doing the best we can, just grooving with the vibe. I can take being alive on this heavenly day. Heavenly, heavenly, heavenly.
Good morning, Unity of Payson. I'm delighted that you're here with us on this heavenly day, reminding us that the glorious truth is that heaven's not up in the sky someplace, but it's available to us here and now. I'm Reverend Neil Worthington, and I'm delighted that you're with us today. Would you just join me in a brief moment of quiet and an opening prayer. God of all goodness, heaven is here. Heaven is now. When we recognize it and open to it, grace flows to us. Grace flows through us as we receive and extend that into the world. And the beautiful thing is that we are grateful for that free will, that ability to choose, and we can choose to receive and to extend that grace. So as we gather this morning, let's be cognizant of grace and its role in our lives, and the fact that we can choose in alignment with the divine within us, and thus be agents of grace. Again, we're grateful for each one who has joined us here this morning, and we are thankful, and so it is. So we move now to our opening song, which is, remind me? Stand. I was not looking in the right place. Stand, and if you're here in person, you can stand. If you're at home, you can stand there too as we sing this beautiful song.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand. I'm gonna stand up for joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
Yes, we are making a new world now. Every action, every word we speak has that effect. So welcome to Unity of Payson. My name's Betty, and I'll be hosting this morning. So we're glad you're with us here in person and everybody online on this chilly morning. And if you are here virtually and are here for the first time, you can say hello to us in the chat and let us know perhaps where you're joining us from. And there's no one new here in person. So, if you would like to have notification of all the activities going on, you can either check your Monday email or go to unityofpayson.org and check it out there. And we always have our calendar hanging in the back of the room here. So, let's bless each other. Let's bless anyone new and all those that have yet to find us. And together we say, we love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And gratitudes. So we're all grateful for all the participation in any way that you do participate. Time, talents, treasures. So we had our usual activities for the week. We had our morning cafe. We had Qigong and Tai Chi. And of course, there's always organic gardening down at Shanti Olmsted. We had the Course in Miracles. And yesterday we had our prayer chaplain meeting. So don't ever hesitate to put in prayer requests with us. We definitely hold them sacred. So we're thankful for the technology, and we're always grateful for Master Tom on the technology. So does anybody in person here have a gratitude? Or if you're online, you can either put it in the chat or unmute. Just be sure to remute after you've given your gratitude. So any gratitudes this morning? So online, I only get to see myself and Donna. I don't get to see everyone else.
I'm checking.
Okay, Teresa says it is clear and beautiful. She's saying hi to everybody. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Tom. Any other gratitudes from online? Wow, we have quite a group online this morning. It's so good to see all of you. That's really lovely. So, yes. Oh, yoo-hoo for vacations. Thanks, Rick, so much for monitoring that for me. Okay, we move on to Unity is grounded in affirmative prayer and in meditation. And like I said before, we have trained prayer chaplains. I don't have my stole on this morning. Here in person, Marianne and I are both here. If you have a prayer need during the week, please don't hesitate, but send your prayer request to neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com, the address on the screen. We hold them sacred and pray over them for 30 days, and then they get sent on to Silent Unity where they're prayed on for another 30 days. And if you would like someone to call you back and have personal prayer support, please leave your contact information. That would either be a phone number or an email address, and one of us will contact you. And so the theme for the month, we continue on with grace. And so let's say the affirmation together. I am transformed as I receive and extend divine grace. And I like that idea of it works both ways. And our speaker today is Dr. Donna Steckel, licensed Unity teacher, and her talk title is Grace and the Power of Will. Dr. Steckel is a licensed Unity teacher and a licensed psychologist in private practice. She also teaches graduate psychology courses and is a certified trainer for the Center for Nonviolent Communication. It is her passion to embody and speak the truth, to live with integrity, and to help others do the same. And our daily word for the day is power. And so, once again, let's say this affirmation. My thoughts and words reflect my divine inheritance. When I listen to my inner conversation, and recurring thoughts, I may hear fear-based limiting talk, or I may hear positive words encouraging me to live joyfully and confidently. The choice is mine. Through my divine gift of power, I take command of my thoughts and my life. I release thoughts of powerlessness, and as I do, my negative self-talk diminishes. I affirm my divine inheritance of faith, wisdom, understanding, and strength with my thoughts, words, and actions. The power to live a full life is mine. I embrace insights I've gained through experience. I own my mistakes without shame or embarrassment. I am eager to learn. I am willing to try new things and stretch myself. In power, I thrive. And our quote today is from our own Reverend Neil. You will receive the grace of divine power as the Christ presence within you rises. And that is choice. It is a choice to allow that to bubble up, to acknowledge it, to not hold on to the negative thoughts. That's where the real power in your life comes from. It comes from knowing that you have choice about how you're going to react to all the outside circumstances. You do not need to get tied up in them. Choose with your sense of power to allow that grace to rise up and fill you. And now we have our message from Donna.
Well, good morning. I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful to have this opportunity. As I was preparing for the topic, I decided I would practice what I was about to preach. And so I've spent the last week practicing, and I will share more about my practice later on in my talk. So let me start by defining will. I noticed that the daily word focused on 5 of the 12 powers. And today we're going to focus on grace and the power of will. So will, as one of the 12 powers, which are attributes of our Christ nature, according to Charles Fillmore, it is the ability to choose, decide, lead, and determine. So I hear myself delayed, and I'm wondering if others hear myself delayed on Zoom. I don't, anyway, it might be because there are 2 monitors. I don't know. So Betty mentioned the ability to choose. It stopped. Thank you. And in so mentioning the ability to choose, that is the power of will. So there were actually 6 powers in that daily word discussion and reflection. So Charles Fillmore wrote the book, The 12 Powers of Man. And the book was written, first edition, in the 30s. He distinguished between the personal will and the universal will. He said that the personal will is very short-sighted and just basically involves the thinking intellect. If it does. A lot of times it's just impulsive. And maybe you've heard the term self-will run riot. That can be what it's like sometimes. Kind of like those birds in the movie, Where's Nemo? And they're all in a chorus shouting, mine, mine, mine. That kind of will is like a gimme. You know, you have the thought and then you take the action without considering anything else, without thinking about the consequences, without thinking about how your action will affect everyone around you. And so that's the short-sighted will. It's not very intentional. And Fillmore believed that that type of willful, stubborn state of mind hardens the heart and congests the life flow. And this was back in the 30s, and creates other physical problems in the body temple. So that's interesting because, you know, being a psychologist, I've seen that people who don't express themselves on the other extreme end up having body problems, body temple problems, and from stuffing all their feelings inside. So on the other extreme, if you're always stressed and driven and have to do immediately what you think, that also can create those type of illnesses. On the other hand, divine will is will that's filled with love and wants only the highest and best for all concerned. So another thing about the willful personality, Fillmore cautioned us against submitting our will to anybody else's will. You know, it may be subtle how we do that, but it really, if you start to look at it, you might find, I found, that I was looking to others to give me a sense of reassurance or to give me a sense of strength. And now things are a little bit different for me since I've been practicing what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so Fillmore told us when Christ said, "Not my will, but thine be done," he was willing not in the personal, but in the divine. And this is the key to understanding the power of will. Fillmore, along with a lot of other unity teachers and spiritual teachers, advise us to practice the presence of God until we open our consciousness to the inflow of the all-knowing mind, and then to affirm our oneness with that mind until one knows and realizes just what one should do. So keep that in mind. Keep Fillmore's telling us how to do it. I can't think of the word for that, but you know what I'm saying. Keep that in mind, what he said, because we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how do we do that? How do we practice the presence? And how do we open our consciousness to the inflow of the all-knowing mind? So just table that for a little bit. When things feel forced, we are likely steering with the personal will, the ego will, the little s self. But when we feel empowered and things are easy and there is a flow, we are likely steering with divine will, with a capital S self. Keep that in mind too, because we can use our feelings as a gauge of what's happening with our will in each moment. So I received the call to review a book, pardon me while I get it, called Will and Spirit. Now, I read this book in 1990. I was in my doctoral program, I was taking a pastoral counseling course, and this book was required reading. And I was called to review it this week. And I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did, because it helped me really capture the perspective of what my message today. So when I first read it, I was doing my reading assignment, and I was in San Diego, and I was on a chaise lounge on my patio. It was a nice sunny day. And I was reading about what he called the unitive experience, UNITIVE, unitive. And it has unity in it. It has the prefix for unity. So it's about unity. And it's about the state of oneness with all. And as I was reading about it, I casually slipped into that state. Everything became more robust and alive around me. I was awake. My eyes were open, and I noticed like the brightness of the yellow in the honeysuckles, the hedges along the fence. And the patio table had tile, and I noticed the red and the blue. It really stood out. And I felt a sense of awe. I recall I did a paper about it for that class. You know, I probably have that paper because I got some comments from the teacher, but I didn't have the time to go look for that in the basement. So we're just going to assume that the comment said something like profound. I'm not really. That was a joke. Let's get back to the topic. So Gerald May, the author, he was a psychiatrist and a theologian. What an interesting combination. And on the back cover says, a new understanding of spirituality and psychology. So you can see where I've been. You know, this is me. This is me. So I've been traveling this road. He described the difference between willfulness and willingness. And he said, willingness implies a surrendering of one's self-separate identity. It is a realization that one is already ultimately a part of some larger process. And willingness also implies a commitment to participate in that process. In contrast, willfulness is the setting of oneself apart from the essence of life in an attempt to master, control, or otherwise manipulate existence. Willingness is saying yes to the mystery of being alive in each moment. And willfulness is saying no, and sometimes yes, but. Willingness notices wonder. Willfulness forgets it, ignores it, or tries to destroy it. And what really grabbed me was he describes suicide and homicide as extreme acts of willfulness. So that's where it can lead to, right? And these are underlying attitudes toward life itself, not specific things or situations. Because sometimes we have to say no and set boundaries. But it's an underlying attitude toward life itself. So keep that in mind. He says that spiritual surrender must be conscious, intentional, and freely chosen, not automatic, reflexive, unintended, or in any way out of control. So isn't that an interesting dynamic that we can choose to intend surrender? And that's what I am going to focus on some more. True surrender really occurs to us as a gift. And when we receive it, we are empowered in its direction. Our primary role is to be wakeful and willing and open to respond when it is given. He believes the opportunities occur very frequently, many times a day. But we may be so noisy in our minds, attached in our heart, or self-important in our ego that we are blind or dulled to the opportunity. He says mystery is always present to be noticed, in the pause between breaths, in the space between thoughts, and in the quiet that remains after any sound ceases. So I do want to share that I have been noticing several times a day when I was feeling willful, I have taken a quick time out to pray. And I have found much more ease and, yes, even grace at these times. May also advocates, like Fillmore does, for spiritual practice through prayer and meditation, to wake up to these grace-filled moments. That's what he said, these grace-filled moments in this book, which was written in 1982. When we are with the presence, without grasping, without avoiding, we feel a sense of deep awe and gratitude. You know, I had the experience a few times, even in the prayer chaplain meeting yesterday. I just felt touched and I felt so much gratitude, and I was awake and I was present, and there was a flow, and it was really lovely. When we merge our personal will with divine will, grace is the experience. Now, in 1993, Unity, which was called Unity School of Christianity back then, it's changed its name a few times. It's now Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. But according to a course called Grace Awakening that was designed by Unity, the will of God is always expressing as grace. Let me say that again. The will of God is always expressing as grace. Grace is the love of God expressing as God's divine nature, which must also be our nature. So I'm now going to tell you a little bit more about what that course had to teach about grace. Grace is unconditional, impartial, and unsolicited. It is fully accessible to all. And every thought and every feeling that's attuned to love can bring this into manifestation, can bring grace into manifestation. Grace is defined as an increase in good. An increase in good. Grace heals, purifies, regenerates, and restores. Now check this out. Grace doesn't deal in even exchange, this for that. Since it's the increase in good, we never quite reap the harvest of our error thoughts and our error actions. We always reap more good than the positive we sow. And God, as the creative principle of life, will always meet us more than halfway. So this is good, right? Good. So in this course, there was some words of wisdom from a great-great-grandma named E.R.A. Crichton, who wrote a book, No Mutiny from the Bounty, Your Miracle of Grace. I went ahead and I ordered that book, and that was part of the material that I was reviewing for this message. And she was metaphysical minded, but very Christian. But I love this quote that she had. Quote, Grace transcends all toiling effort, all condemnation and self-condemnation, does not know wrong, nor resistance to wrong, nor punishment for wrong, but shines steadily on. The glory of God's love manifest eases all our struggle, stills all strife in our life, comforts our sorrow, knows nothing of such things, and erases them from our mind and heart when we are receptive to its distilled loveliness. So take that in. Let's breathe that in. So what happens? Why is it that we don't have continual experiences of grace each day? Well, there are some blocks in our consciousness. Although grace is fully accessible to all, we can resist it by holding thoughts and feelings that are opposed to the nature of love or the nature of being. And everybody has these, and so it takes spiritual practice to work with this. So I want to mention some of these blocks and some ways to work with them to allow that inflow. So we can be an inlet and an outlet, as Reverend Neil has talked about, to divine grace. So one of the blocks is negative thinking that results when we judge by appearance. You know, we get a message from our senses, our five senses, and we think right away, oh, that's the way it is. And that's an error because we can't see the big picture so many times. And if we want to see the big picture, we can affirm that all is in divine order. Like the Daniel Nahmod song, I'm in the right place at the right time, and my soul is welcome here. We can use that as an affirmation to help ourselves remember that all is in divine order, so we can see the truth instead of the appearance. So we can judge with right judgment rather than by appearances. Another block is insistence of even exchange all the time. Well, I did this for you, so you should do this for me. We can remind ourselves that grace involves an increase in good and greater good. Another one is the belief that we of ourselves are separate from God and we must do all the work. We can ask God's help in everything, not just some things, but everything. Everything. Another block is the fear that the will of God might cause us some pain and suffering. But we can remind ourselves that our higher self resides within us and wants the best for us. So we don't think of God as some power outside of ourselves, but that we can be filled with divine grace and divine love and divine will right here and now because we are part of God. Now, here's where my psychology experience comes in. By the way, I am retired now, so I just want to add that. I'm not in practice anymore. But I remember a lot of my work because I did it for a long time. So there are survival roles that are played in childhood in dysfunctional systems that our human self tends to default to when we're under stress. And there's 4 roles that we play as children that I'm going to go over and show how that can get in the way of being receptive to God's will and divine grace. These roles include the lost child or the invisible one, the scapegoat or target, the hero or overachiever, and the clown who masks pain with humor. I hear some noise in the background. I'm wondering if somebody needs to mute. It sounds like appliances. Thank you. So back to the roles. If you are invisible, think about it. How can God find you? Or how can you find God? God's always there. But how can you find God if you are invisible? If you're the target, then you're the blame for others' problems. And you feel like a victim who never gets a fair shake. If you're the hero, then you must fix everyone else's problems. So you must play God for them. Yet there's no one for you to take care of you. And we may become perfectionists in the process of taking care of everybody else and sacrifice like a martyr, the codependent salute. Okay, I'll do it. That doesn't let us find God's will or God's grace. And if you're the clown, you must laugh when you're sad, confused, or angry, just to make others happy. So your real feelings can't be shown or known, not even to yourself. And in dysfunctional systems, our caretaker's behavior was often unpredictable. You had to take any attention when you could get it. You had to drop everything. Promises would be broken, but no one talked about it because of shame and the do not talk about problems rule. So often our image of God is tied to the authority figures we experienced as children and through young adulthood. We have even tended to recreate those types of relationships in adulthood, in the workplace, and with our partners, because that's what was familiar and that's all we knew. So we project these figures onto a God, one who may show favoritism or be unpredictable in offering favor, one that does not care about what we feel or need, one that does not keep promises, or who may punish us when we have been doing our best. But those are projections from childhood. These childhood issues can affect us as adults in our ability to love ourselves and others and to be loved. But the good news is now you and I can choose who we want our higher power to be and the qualities that we want our higher power to embrace. Today, we can talk, we can trust and feel safe in supportive environments with families of our own choosing. We don't have to do challenges alone today. A few months ago, I joined a STEP study group, and we recently reviewed step 2, and we began step 3. Some of you may be aware of the steps. Step 2 focuses on building our own concept of a higher power, a God of our own understanding. And step 3 involves making a decision to turn our will over to the care of God as we understand God. So the 12 steps are read at every meeting. And we hear that step 11, which is one step from 12, which is the sponsorship step, where we extend our hope and our experience to others. But 11 is sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for 1, knowledge of God's will for us, and 2, the power to carry that out. Knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. And So I have a blue book here, and on page 24, it says, as we begin to strengthen our relationship with our higher power, the miracles of recovery unfold. We begin to feel more assured that our deepest needs will be cared for. Whew, that's good, isn't it? In unity, as you know, we believe that God indwells us. So we're not giving away our power when we pray to know God's will. We are allowing greater good to unfold in our lives. We are not surrendering to some unknown force outside of ourselves. We are surrendering to the divinity that is within us. It's really important to be kind to ourselves and gentle if we're hesitant to trust or to feel worthy of benevolence. Although this trust is very important to develop. Learning to trust God as we understand God may take practice. But the good news is we can do this one day at a time. And we can do it sometimes 1 minute at a time. We can make a choice to turn toward God until our understanding is filled with divine wisdom. Now, if we forget and start to think we're separate or we have to do it alone, we can call on our willingness to help. We need to be honest with ourselves without judgment in these moments. Again, it is like the HOW of recovery. Honesty, openness, and willingness can help see us through. So grace involves a decision to change your mind, to turn away from the material, and to focus on spirit. It begins with prayer. As we quiet the conscious mind and turn inwards and become an open channel through which grace can flow. The greatest prayer that can ever be spoken is, "Thy will be done." This prayer of the heart brings healing, harmony, abundance, peace of mind, and pure guidance. Thy will be done this day through me. This is the prayer of grace. This is the prayer I have been practicing. So for practice for each of you this week, I have a few ideas. In situations where you find yourself insisting on doing it all yourself, take a breath or two, relax, and remember, you are not alone and you do not have to do it alone. Affirm every day, as many times a day as you can remember, thy will be done. Allow yourself to feel a sense of peace and ease, and joy and trust about the will of God expressing in your life. Take time each day to notice your surroundings, to really look deeply at objects around you and notice the mystery. Notice the space between your thoughts and between your breaths. To summarize, we can use our power of will and we can make the choice on a daily basis, and sometimes a minute at a time, to be willing to experience, realize, and manifest divine grace. Remember, we're all together in this quest. Everyone wants the same things, to love and to be loved. And when you seek that quiet within your own mind, you do this as much for others as you do for yourself. As you become more aware of grace in your life, you will naturally radiate this love, joy, and peace. And others are likely to do the same around you. Like when you smile at someone and they smile back, then they smile at someone who smiles back. It gets paid forward. Are you willing to know God's will? If so, say with me now, I am willing to know God's will. Let's try that again. I am willing to know God's will. Are you willing to experience divine grace? If so, say with me, I am willing to experience divine grace. From John 1:16, and from his fullness have we all received grace upon grace. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Powerful talk. And as we prepare for meditation, our song is the Grace Chant.
Into thy hands I commit my spirit. Thy will is my will. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed, so that I may glorify God. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. Thy will is my will. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs. I commit my spirit. Thy will is my will. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be my spirit. Heal that which needs to be at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs. I commit my spirit. Thy that which my will. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs. I commit my spirit. Heal that which might. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs. I commit my spirit. Thy that which my will. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs. I commit my spirit. Heal that which might. Heal me at death, so that I may glorify God.
So this is a meditation from Unity Minister Jane Paulson. There's an echo again. Can you please adjust that? It may be difficult for some to pray, thy will be done, for they may fear God and equate God's will with fearsome happenings. But God's will is perfect good. God wills only the highest and best for us. God's will is happening all the time. We have but to turn our attention away from the outer and center ourselves in the awareness of God's presence in our life. Let's do that now. God of love, I give you all my burdens, all my worries. I let your peace enfold me. I let your love support me. I allow your grace to fill me. God's will for us is so good, we haven't even conceived of that good that has been prepared for us. God's will is love, life, light, and laughter. God of love, thy will be done. We can say this joyously, freely, completely. That will that is forever for our highest good. Thy will be done in my mind as we erase any thoughts or feelings that are less than good. And let the love of God fill our mind. Thy will be done in my heart, in that secret place where I know and am known, forgiving, releasing, letting go. And we allow perfect love to fill our hearts to overflowing. Thy will be done in my body temple, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, erasing any thoughts of disease, and allow the ease and perfect life of God to flow through me now. Thy will be done in my affairs, as we now erase any discord and bring forth harmony. Let go of any insecurity and bring forth that secure feeling as we remember our oneness with God. We erase any thoughts of lack and we let God's grace fill us to overflowing. And the overflow blesses the world. Feel yourself now centered and poised in God's love and grace. Nothing in the outer can disturb the calm peace of your soul. For a few minutes now, let's spend some time in the silence and touch that living, loving presence and let it reveal to you thy will. As we gently come back to this time and space in our awareness, we feel God's love around us. We come forth with the feeling of all good and the knowledge of greater good. Thank you, God. Thank you, fellow travelers, on this journey of spiritual growth. Thy will is done, so it is. Amen.
Once again, thank you, Donna. And now it's time for our gifts and our offerings. Unity greatly appreciates all of your gifts. And in a moment, we'll hear a song, an offering song. And those here in person, we will be passing the basket, and there will be slides up so you have plenty of time to make your offering online. And so now call your attention to the message that Donna just was speaking about discovering the will for you. And let's say our affirmation together. Freely we give, and freely we receive. And the offering song is Let Your Love Unfold by Daniel Nahmod.
Remember as a child you dreamed of flying to the sky. Now there's nothing stopping you but doubts inside your own mind. You know that you can be whatever you would like to be. Your time has finally come. The world is ready now to see you. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. Yes, you have the power to make anything so. Only you and God know where you are really meant to go. Rest assured that all your dreams are born to come true if you just find your strength inside and let it shine on through. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. But do you love yourself as you know you should do? You are a child of God, no wall you can't break through. You've just got to believe that your great destiny awaits. All your wildest dreams will turn into your certain fate. So let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world starting with you. Let your love unfold. Let your love unfold. It will change the world. It will change the world. It will change the world. Starting with you. Starting with you.
And so we're grateful for the gifts and for the givers. And let's just say the affirmation for all the gifts. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, we are grateful, and we give thanks. And on to announcements. So we continue on with our theme of grace. And being as we have an extra Sunday this month, the members of Unity will be speaking about grace teaching in our lives. And so now we have a few announcements. Our usual events, the morning cafe, Monday through Saturday at 9:30, the Qigong and Tai Chi with Teresa, Sundays and Wednesdays at 4:30. Highway cleanup the third Thursday. Contact Neil if you want to participate in that. Whether you're online or in person, you can contact him. And of course, the organic gardening at Shanti Olmsted. And a reminder that on February 5th is our next potluck. So bring something good and come and break bread with us. So, the announcements. The Kindness Cafe. This is Rick's, his project that we are engaging the rest of the community. A kindness conversation with Rick Hinkey tomorrow evening from 6 to 7, Monday the 23rd. Bring snacks to share. If not, he already brought some goodies in. It'll be here in the fellowship hall and on Zoom. And this will be a discussion on how do we move forward with this? What are the ideas that you might be carrying? We need everybody's involvement for this. So thank you. And next we have the writers group for those that love to write. And this is so well attended. Thursday, January 26th from 4 to 5. And that meets the second and fourth Thursdays. And next we have Spiritual Cinema. That's Friday, January 27th from 6 to 8 here in the fellowship hall. We're going to be watching Cocoon. I had brought this up some while ago about how I envision us, these energy beings, these bright beings that we kind of have a skin suit on for this three-dimensional experience. And that brought up all the other messages, the great messages in this movie. So do join us for that. And Reverend Neil, any PS?
I just want to emphasize again, particularly to all of you that are online with us, the kindness, well, we've called it cafe, we call it conversation. We don't exactly have a firm name for it yet, but this is an initiation of something that we hope will be beyond unity. This is not specifically a unity event, but supported very much by unity. And so we would love to have you be part of that conversation from the get-go. This is something that just started. Rick has done a tremendous amount of work to get this started, and you'll see some of that as he shares, and then you'll have an opportunity to engage in conversation about this as we go forward. Also, remember, particularly if you're here online, we're going to take a 5-minute break right after we conclude the service with the prayer for protection, and then we'll come back for a conversation here, which we call Breaking Bread. And so if you're here, get a snack, come back and sit up toward the front. We'll reverse the camera, turn it around, and then we'll have a conversation with all of us, both those that are online and those who are here in person. I think that's about it. So it's time for us to close our service. We'll join together here in it's a little bit of a small circle here this morning. So those of you who are online, imagine that you're in this circle with us. You have a good imagination, I know. And we'll sing the peace song and then the prayer for protection.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth.
protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God envelops us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God envelops us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for being here. See you in 5 minutes for a time of breaking bread in conversation. too, and we can see how it's working. Okay, here we go.
Well, originally, I was going to actually.
Reverend Neil, if people want to stay behind in the snack area, you might close that curtain.
Okay, they're coming. They're all coming back up.
Okay.
We've
Time to come up, guys.
we've told them they have
I
to.
mean, that might be a way to, just have two spaces instead of one.
Yeah, just one more minute or two, and gather the others from the back, and then we'll go together. So let me. Teresa is saying she can't join because she's got another commitment for a women's march today, and we'll miss you, Teresa. But let me just recognize the other people that are here. If we can take down that chat and see it again. So Debbie and maybe Terry and maybe TJ and Roni, I don't know who all's there, are with us from Buckhead. Well, there's two. You got two on there, so I'm guessing there's a few people down there, and that we welcome you to put your camera on at any time. Frosty's here and Joanne is here, so we have an opportunity to begin our conversation. I'm going to just start it out, Donna. You butt in wherever, but what?
I would like to butt in right away.
Okay, butt in. Go ahead.
Yes, but no, I just want to say that during the message, there were 18 people, 18 online, and now there's just 8. So we've lost 10, but we haven't lost them indefinitely. But for the purpose of this conversation, I just want to say that there's at least 10 folks who are not here.
And it's being recorded still.
No, we don't record this part. The recording should have stopped, but I think it stopped, hasn't it?
My screen says it's still on.
Oh,